My first premium laptop, quote-unquote premium laptop I've ever bought was this ZenBook. I think it's an i7 Haswell generation 4510 or something like that. Unfortunately, the hinge broke very early and I've started to use it as a server. So yeah, I was pretty interested in testing this year's ASUS ZenBook 13 with Ryzen 750-700U, and I've tested it now for 2 weeks, or a little more than 2 weeks. I've coded on it, I worked with VMs and Docker, I played a lot of games on it, watched YouTube, Netflix, and all in all I have to say I'm pretty impressed with this thin light laptop, especially the performance. Thanks to the 8 Zen 2 cores and 16 threads, it's very fast. It always felt snappy, even with lots of tasks running. The SoC runs around 20 watts, which is enough to reach relatively high CPU and GPU frequencies. And even for a few seconds, the SoC can boost up to 28 watts. Under heavy load, the fan is good to hear, but because it's not such a high-pitched sound, it's not really annoying. During normal use, the fan is no problem, it's barely hearable. The OLED screen is very good. I mean, it has great viewing angles, contrast and brightness, and makes up for the fact that the screen is glossy and makes it tolerable. The gaming performance was a surprise for me. The 13-inch laptops manages to keep the iGPU clocks high enough to sustain pretty good performance in most games. Obviously you have to play around with the settings and maybe use dynamic resolution and so on to have good high enough frames per second number. But even AAA titles can be played and look pretty good on this 13-inch screen. The iGPU reserves 512 megabytes of RAM as static VRAM and leaves 15.5 gigabytes for the system. That's pretty good, so you don't waste too much RAM. I remember older AMD laptops, they reserve 2 gigabytes of RAM as VRAM, even though you never play the game, and you waste a lot of RAM like that. So that's cool. Anyway, the iGPU can always allocate more RAM as VRAM dynamically while gaming, so that's not a problem. The battery life is excellent. I've measured 12 hours watching 1080p YouTube video at 90% screen brightness, and I measured 2.5 hours gaming, 3D gaming obviously. I played Formula 1 2020 at 90% brightness, and that was 2.5 hours. The keyboard feels very good, the Intel Wi-Fi chip is great and has great driver support. The reception, the WLAN reception, the signal reception is not that great, I think, but it's good. So in the end, a clear recommendation if you search a powerful thin light notebook with some gaming capabilities and good battery life. I think that's a good choice. Obviously, if you want to pay for it, I think at the moment it's pretty expensive, like $1.2 thousand or something. But yeah, so I hope it was helpful and see you another time.